something you do every single morning. That idea may feel surprising, even a little uncomfortable, because most men are taught to blame time itself. But the human body doesn't simply switch off with age. It responds to patterns, especially the ones repeated daily. One of the most powerful of these patterns is the morning routine, when your body is naturally more sensitive to signals like nutrition, hydration, stress, and stimulation. Research and guidance from trusted sources like the Harvard Health Publishing and the Mayo Clinic emphasize that many age-related changes in male vitality are closely tied to blood flow, cardiovascular health, and lifestyle habits rather than age alone. In simple terms, your body works like a network of flexible tubes. When those pathways are supported, everything downstream functions more smoothly. But when daily habits tighten, inflame, or stress those pathways, performance can quietly decline over time. What makes this more complex is that these changes often happen gradually, without obvious warning signs, which is why many men don't connect their everyday behaviors, like what they drink in the morning, to how they feel later. There's also a strong link between mental stress and physical response. Organizations such as the Cleveland Clinic and the NHS highlight how stress hormones can affect circulation and energy levels, creating a chain reaction that impacts overall performance. So when someone wakes up, feels rushed, drinks coffee on an empty system, and immediately enters a high-stress state, the body may respond by tightening blood vessels and shifting into a less optimal mode. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. It's also why a small shift in that morning routine can have a ripple effect throughout the day. For example, adding certain natural compounds or supportive nutrients to a morning drink may help the body maintain a more balanced internal environment, particularly when it comes to circulation and energy regulation. However, it's important to understand that this is not a quick fix or a guaranteed solution, and it should never replace professional medical advice. Instead, it's a perspective grounded in how the body actually works through consistency, signals, and adaptation. When you begin to see your daily habits as instructions you're giving your body, things start to make more sense. You realize that what feels like a sudden decline may actually be the result of repeated small patterns over time. And once you understand that, a new question naturally follows. If certain habits can slowly reduce performance, could slightly better ones help restore it? Most men focus on the wrong thing when they notice changes in performance. They often assume it's about strength, aging, or hormones alone, but a deeper look shows something more fundamental at play. Circulation. The body relies on blood flow the same way a home relies on water pressure. When everything flows freely, systems work as expected. When flow is restricted, performance drops quietly and gradually. This idea is strongly supported by trusted medical organizations such as the Cleveland Clinic and the NHS, both of which emphasize that proper blood circulation is essential for overall male function, energy levels, and tissue responsiveness. What many men don't realize is that circulation is highly sensitive to everyday lifestyle habits, not just major health conditions. Long periods of sitting, chronic stress, lack of movement, and poor sleep patterns can all contribute to reduced vascular flexibility, meaning the blood vessels don't open and close as efficiently as they should. Over time, this can feel like a gradual loss of responsiveness in the body, even if nothing seems medically wrong at first glance. Another important factor, highlighted by institutions like Harvard Health Publishing, is the role of the inner lining of blood vessels, known as the endothelium. This lining helps regulate how well blood flows by releasing signals that tell vessels when to relax or tighten. When lifestyle habits support this system through movement, balanced nutrition, and stress control, the vessels stay more flexible, allowing better flow. But when habits work against it, such as constant stress or lack of physical activity, this system becomes less efficient. The result isn't immediate failure, but a slow, often unnoticed decline. This is why many men feel confused. They expect a sudden problem, but instead experience a gradual shift that's harder to pinpoint. Morning routines also play a bigger role than most people think. According to guidance often discussed by organizations like the Mayo Clinic, The body's early hours are a critical window where hormones, blood pressure, and energy systems are resetting for the day. If that window is filled with stress signals, rushing, anxiety, or stimulants without balance, it can set the tone for reduced circulation efficiency throughout the day. Coffee itself isn't the issue, it's how it's consumed and what accompanies it. For example, drinking coffee while dehydrated or under stress may amplify tension in the body rather than support it. This leads to an important realization. The issue is rarely one single factor. It's a combination of small daily inputs that either support or hinder the body's natural flow systems. Many men look for complex solutions while overlooking these simple patterns. But once you understand that circulation is the foundation, everything starts to connect. The body isn't failing, it's responding to signals. And if those signals can gradually reduce performance, it also suggests that better signals applied consistently may help restore balance over time. Think about how most mornings actually begin. The alarm goes off, the body is still transitioning out of rest, and before it fully wakes up, the mind is already racing. Messages, responsibilities, stress about the day ahead. In that exact window, the body is in a highly responsive state, almost like a system rebooting and waiting for input. According to insights commonly shared by the Mayo Clinic and the NHS, early morning hours are when hormone levels, blood pressure, and circulation patterns naturally adjust to prepare the body for activity. This means whatever signals you introduce, whether it's calm breathing, hydration, or stress, can influence how efficiently your body functions for the rest of the day. Many men, however, unknowingly fall into what could be called a morning routine trap, where the first actions of the day actually work against the body rather than support it. One of the most common patterns is immediately reaching for coffee while still dehydrated and mentally stressed. While coffee itself is not harmful for most people, organizations like Harvard Health Publishing explain that caffeine can temporarily increase alertness by stimulating the nervous system, but when combined with stress or lack of hydration, it may also contribute to tightening of blood vessels. This doesn't create an obvious problem right away, which is why it often goes unnoticed, but over time it can influence how blood flows through the body. If you imagine your circulation like a flexible network of pathways, starting the day in a tense, dehydrated state is like slightly narrowing those pathways before the day even begins. It's subtle, but repetition turns it into a pattern. There's also the factor of how quickly people move from rest to high alert. The Cleveland Clinic often highlights the impact of stress hormones like cortisol, which naturally rise in the morning but can spike higher when the body feels rushed or pressured. Elevated stress signals can shift the body into a fight or flight mode, where energy is redirected toward immediate survival rather than long-term functions like balanced circulation and recovery. Over time, this repeated state can affect how efficiently the body maintains blood flow and energy balance. Many men don't connect this to performance changes because the effect is gradual and masked by daily routines. Another overlooked piece is that the morning is one of the best opportunities to support the body's natural systems. The World Health Organization emphasizes the importance of consistent daily habits in maintaining long-term health, including simple actions like hydration, balanced nutrition, and stress management. When the body receives supportive signals early, such as proper fluid intake or nutrients that help maintain vascular function, it tends to respond more efficiently throughout the day. On the other hand, when those signals are missing, the system starts the day slightly off balance, and that imbalance can carry forward. What makes this trap powerful is its consistency. It's not a one-time mistake, but a repeated pattern that quietly shapes how the body operates over weeks, months, and years. Because the effects are not immediate, they are easy to ignore or misattribute to aging or other factors. But once you understand that your morning routine acts like a daily instruction manual for your body, it becomes clear why even small adjustments can matter. The same routine that slowly reduces efficiency could, with a few thoughtful changes, begin to support better balance and function instead. Now, this is where the discussion becomes more focused, because the idea of a missing piece in something as simple as a morning cup of coffee points toward how the body responds to supportive compounds rather than just stimulation. Many natural substances found in everyday foods are known to influence how blood vessels behave, particularly in terms of their ability to relax and expand. This process is closely tied to a molecule in the body called nitric oxide, which plays a key role in helping blood vessels widen so blood can flow more easily. Trusted institutions like the National Institutes of Health and the World Health Organization often discuss how maintaining healthy circulation is essential for overall cardiovascular function, and nitric oxide is one of the body's natural tools for achieving that balance. When this system works efficiently, it supports not only heart health, but also energy levels and physical responsiveness in different parts of the body. The important thing to understand is that the body doesn't rely on a single switch to improve circulation. Instead, it depends on ongoing support from daily habits and nutrients. Certain natural compounds, commonly found in plant-based foods, spices, or simple kitchen ingredients, are known to support the pathways involved in nitric oxide production. These compounds don't act like stimulants that force a quick reaction. Rather, they help the body do what it is already designed to do, just a bit more efficiently. The Harvard Health Publishing frequently highlights that lifestyle and dietary patterns play a major role in vascular health, emphasizing that consistent intake of supportive nutrients can contribute to better long-term outcomes. This means the idea of adding something to your coffee is less about creating a sudden change and more about building a supportive environment inside the body over time. Another key point, often noted by organizations like the Cleveland Clinic, is that blood vessels need to remain flexible. Flexibility allows them to respond to the body's changing needs, expanding when more blood flow is required and returning to normal afterward. When this flexibility is reduced due to stress, poor diet, or inactivity, circulation becomes less efficient. Supporting nitric oxide pathways is one way to encourage that flexibility, but it works best when combined with other healthy habits like movement and hydration. This is why a single addition, even if beneficial, is not a standalone solution, but part of a broader pattern. It's also important to avoid misunderstanding the role of these natural compounds. They are not medications, and they don't override the body's systems. Instead, they provide gentle support, which is why consistency matters more than intensity. The NHS often reinforces the idea that gradual, sustainable changes in diet and lifestyle are more effective for long-term health than quick, extreme interventions. When something supportive is added regularly, such as a nutrient-rich ingredient in a daily routine, it can contribute to small improvements that build over time. This perspective shifts the focus away from looking for a dramatic fix and toward understanding how the body responds to repeated signals. The missing piece in the morning cup is not about transforming the drink itself, but about using an existing habit as an opportunity to support the body's natural processes. When done consistently and alongside other balanced habits, this approach aligns with what major health organizations emphasize, that long-term function and vitality are often the result of small, repeated actions that help the body maintain its natural balance. One of the most important yet often misunderstood aspects of improving overall male vitality is the role of consistency, and this is where many men unintentionally hold themselves back. There is a common expectation that noticeable changes should happen quickly, especially when trying something new, but the human body does not operate on instant results. It adapts gradually based on repeated inputs over time. This concept is frequently emphasized by trusted institutions like the Mayo Clinic and the Harvard Health Publishing, which explain that most aspects of physical health, including circulation and energy balance, are influenced by long-term habits rather than short-term efforts. When men try a new approach for only a few days and then stop because they don't see immediate changes, they interrupt the very process that could have led to improvement. The body needs repeated signals to adjust its internal systems, much like how regular exercise gradually strengthens muscles, rather than doing so overnight. Another challenge is the tendency to rely on multiple changes at once, often without understanding how they interact. For example, a person might adjust their diet, try new supplements, change sleep patterns, and increase activity levels all at the same time. While these are positive actions individually, introducing them all together can make it difficult to identify what is actually helping. The Cleveland Clinic often highlights the importance of sustainable lifestyle adjustments, noting that gradual and manageable changes are more likely to produce lasting benefits. When too many variables are introduced at once, it can also create inconsistency, as maintaining several new habits simultaneously may feel overwhelming. This often leads to frustration and eventually abandoning the effort altogether, reinforcing the false belief that nothing works. Hydration, movement, sleep, and stress management are foundational elements that are frequently overlooked despite their strong influence on circulation and overall function. According to the World Health Organization, consistent daily behaviors such as maintaining adequate hydration and engaging in regular physical activity are key contributors to long-term health. Water plays a critical role in maintaining blood volume and flow, while movement helps stimulate circulation and keeps blood vessels responsive. Sleep, on the other hand, allows the body to repair and regulate hormones, and chronic sleep deprivation can interfere with these processes. Stress is another major factor. Prolonged stress can elevate hormones that constrict blood vessels and reduce the efficiency of circulation over time. When these foundational elements are ignored, adding a single healthy habit, such as including a supportive ingredient in a morning routine, may not produce noticeable results because the underlying system is still under strain. This is why the analogy of a highway is useful in understanding how the body works. Imagine circulation as a multi-lane road system designed to transport resources efficiently. If several lanes are blocked due to dehydration, inactivity, or stress, opening just one lane will not immediately restore smooth traffic flow. However, when multiple small improvements are made consistently, drinking enough water, moving regularly, managing stress, and supporting the body with balanced nutrition, the system begins to clear. The NHS often reinforces this idea by encouraging gradual lifestyle improvements rather than quick fixes, emphasizing that long-term health outcomes are shaped by patterns rather than isolated actions. Over time, as more lanes become available, circulation improves and the body can function more efficiently. Patience becomes a critical factor in this process. The body requires time to rebuild and adjust, especially when changes are related to circulation and metabolic function. Unlike immediate responses triggered by stimulants, these improvements are subtle at first and may only become noticeable after consistent effort. This can make it challenging for individuals who are used to quick results, but it also highlights the importance of trusting the process. Small, steady changes tend to be more sustainable and less disruptive, allowing the body to adapt naturally without being forced into extreme states. Ultimately, the key takeaway supported by these reputable organizations is that no single action works in isolation. The effectiveness of any supportive habit, including something as simple as modifying a morning routine, depends on the overall context of daily life. When foundational habits are aligned and maintained consistently, even small additions can contribute to meaningful improvements over time. Conversely, without that foundation, even potentially helpful changes may seem ineffective. Understanding this interconnected system helps shift expectations from seeking immediate results to building long-term balance, which is where real and lasting improvements are most likely to occur. The final piece in understanding long-term improvements in male vitality is recognizing that the real transformation is not only physical, but also deeply psychological. Many men focus exclusively on the physical aspects of performance, thinking that confidence or energy will naturally follow once the body responds. However, research and guidance from reputable institutions such as the Harvard Health Publishing and the Mayo Clinic suggest that mental state and physical health are closely intertwined. When the body functions efficiently, the brain receives positive feedback signals, which reinforces confidence, motivation, and overall well-being. Conversely, when circulation or energy systems are impaired, subtle changes, like reduced stamina, slower recovery, or diminished responsiveness, can affect self-perception and emotional state, creating a feedback loop that can amplify stress and further hinder performance. This connection highlights why supporting the body's natural systems consistently, even with small interventions, has implications far beyond physical performance. It also supports mental clarity, emotional resilience, and a sense of agency over one's health. The concept of control is central here. Men often feel frustrated because declines in energy, vitality, or responsiveness are interpreted as inevitable consequences of aging. However, health organizations like the Cleveland Clinic and the NHS note that lifestyle factors, nutrition, hydration, movement, stress management, and sleep play a far greater role in sustaining functional health than commonly believed. By adjusting daily habits intentionally, individuals can regain a sense of control over these factors, which in turn reinforces psychological well-being. This is not about denying the natural aging process or expecting unrealistic results. Rather, it is about recognizing that even small, consistent changes can influence both the mind and body in meaningful ways. The synergy between physical support and mental state is what allows for a sustainable improvement in quality of life, and it explains why men often feel the benefits not only in performance, but also in confidence, social interaction, and personal relationships. Another critical aspect to consider is the role of habits as repeated signals. Institutions like the World Health Organization emphasize the importance of establishing routines that the body can anticipate and respond to predictably. For example, when a supportive ingredient is consistently incorporated into a morning routine, it signals to the body that circulation, energy metabolism, and vascular responsiveness are being supported daily. Over time, the body adjusts to these repeated inputs, improving efficiency without forcing an abrupt change. This aligns with the concept of neuroplasticity and physiological adaptation described in various studies referenced by PubMed, which show that repeated, consistent behavioral patterns can influence both vascular responsiveness and hormonal regulation. By taking advantage of predictable daily patterns, men can create a gentle but effective foundation for sustaining long-term vitality. It is equally important to understand that this approach is not a replacement for professional medical care. Trusted sources such as the Harvard Health Publishing and the Mayo Clinic caution that while supportive habits can improve circulation, energy, and overall well-being, they should be integrated as part of a comprehensive approach that considers medical history, medications, and underlying conditions. This distinction is critical because it frames supportive daily habits as a complement rather than a substitute for evidence-based medical guidance. Understanding this boundary helps men approach lifestyle changes with realistic expectations while still capitalizing on the natural adaptability of the body. Another dimension of transformation is the subtle shift in mindset that comes with taking consistent, intentional action. When a person begins to see the impact of repeated supportive behaviors, even something as simple as adjusting a morning coffee routine, they experience a sense of agency. This sense of agency, which psychologists refer to as perceived behavioral control, is strongly associated with long-term adherence to health behaviors and improvements in overall quality of life. According to studies published in journals indexed on PubMed, perceived control over health outcomes often correlates with better emotional resilience, reduced stress, and improved physical performance. The act of consistently supporting one's body becomes a reinforcing cycle. Improved physical function boosts confidence, which encourages continued adherence to supportive habits, which further enhances physiological and psychological well-being. Finally, this combined effect of physical and mental improvements underscores why the shift is more profound than many men anticipate. Organizations like the Cleveland Clinic emphasize that long-term health and vitality are rarely the result of a single intervention. Rather, they emerge from the accumulation of small, consistent actions that collectively optimize the body's natural processes. Each supportive habit, hydration, movement, sleep, stress management, and targeted nutritional input acts as a signal to the body, reminding it to function efficiently and maintain balance. Over time, these signals create an environment where performance, energy, and confidence can gradually improve, even in later decades of life. Importantly, this approach respects the natural aging process while still offering a meaningful way to enhance quality of life. It reinforces the idea that men are not powerless in the face of age-related changes. Instead, thoughtful, consistent daily choices can promote both physical function and psychological resilience. By understanding and leveraging the interconnectedness of body and mind, men can cultivate a sustainable improvement in vitality, energy, and confidence without relying on quick fixes or unverified interventions. This perspective frames long-term health as a process, not an event, and emphasizes the